Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and I guess it's Friday morning now. Friday morning, talk about the Thursday night game like we do every week. This time, Cowboys Saints. Looked like, and we both picked Saints for this one, -8 or something like that. Should be, Saints have been rolling. Dallas, they've been on a good stretch, but it's still Dallas, right? And what the heck happened? Where did the Saints offense go tonight, Jeff?
I wish I knew. I mean, I'm shocked, to be honest. I'm trying to make sense of the game, and I truly cannot. I don't know where Drew Brees went. I don't know where the Saints offense went. I don't know where the Cowboys defense came from. I mean, I was looking at what they did before. Maybe I'm just underestimating them. But I mean, really, this is the best game they've had and the least amount of points they've given up to a team. Besides for week 6 when they held Jacksonville to 7 points, which is a much, much, much worse offense that didn't have Fournette. Other than that, I mean, They just gave up 23 to Washington. How do the Saints only put up 10? It really was shocking.
It wouldn't even matter to me how good Dallas was or not. It just, how did they? I just know, where did Drew Brees go tonight? Where did Alvin Kamara go tonight? Mark Ingram wasn't there at all. I mean, if you were been relying on these Saints players all year, get you into the playoffs, and you needed them this week, they let down a lot of teams. Michael Thomas 5 for 40. That's it. So Michael Thomas 5 for 40. Mark Ingram had 28 total yards. Even Kamara, at least he didn't ruin your week. He just didn't get the big game like that would help you get a win. But 7.2, not great.
No, but in a PPR league, he did have 8 receptions.
So that helps in PPR. Kind of yep, he did definitely saved it there. I mean, any worry at all if you are a Kamara owner who is going into the playoffs next week?
I mean,
you might be.
Yeah, I am. I don't think I can. I think this is such a wild game that I have to chalk it up on the other side of the spectrum that what we saw from like Rams and Chiefs. I feel like this is the exact opposite. I mean, I really do tip my hat. I'm starting to wonder if I'm sleeping on Dallas. I mean, maybe that, as far as just football-wise, I don't think that there's too much to love still. I mean, besides for the guys that have already been there. Zeke, pretty much. But no, I don't worry, but I don't like to see it this close to the playoffs. I would much rather have it where I'm like, Kamara is still unstoppable. Drew Brees is going to throw 3 touchdowns no matter what. I would much rather have that than, will this next defense shut Kamara out of the end zone again? Like, I don't want that rattling around my head. And right now it is, but I know
they
that
play Tampa.
Right, exactly. It's a worry that, I mean, Cowboys have been such a, I mean, they're a good defense, but they're a middle of the road, especially when it comes fantasy wise. Like, middle of the road at best. What are they, 16th before this week?
They're starting to get there. Am. I mean, maybe they're just a lot. They've been on a roll lately. They've been winning games, so maybe they're just a better team than their numbers show because of how they've been coming on. But it still doesn't answer for why the Saints did what they did.
No. I think the other question I have to ask you is, a lot of people still, are using Ingram, obviously.
Yeah.
Today he got 9 total touches, 7 carries, 2 receiving, 2 receptions for 1 yard. I know that you do have him in one of your leagues. What are your thoughts about Ingram?
I have no confidence, and I did not start him this week. He was on my bench, and
so who are you start? Who did you start instead of him?
I started Josh Adams instead of Ingram, and I don't have maybe next week is different. They play Tampa. I might feel better about that. It just depends on who else you have in your team. But if you have Ingram, chances are you have 2 running backs that are better because where you drafted him this year. You didn't have him for the first, however many games. So hopefully you're not forced to play him. Maybe you've made the moves, got the Josh Adams, Gus Edwards type players, because I'm playing them over him completely. And he'll be in my ranks in the 20s probably next week. So he's definitely playable because there's just going to be teams that don't have the option. You might just not have the option. You might just have to put him in there and hope he has a good week. But I'm going to play other guys that I think are safer to get the carries. Like the free agent picks, like Edwards, like Adams, players like that. Are going to get carries. So I don't feel comfortable with it.
I just don't get it. I'm trying to like rhyme or reason behind this. I got nothing. I mean, 21 was the lowest that they scored before this, and that was week 2. Like everything else, they've been just blowing people out or doing really well. They put 24 up against the Ravens. I mean, I can't get over it. I'm truly shocked. This just went completely sideways from what I thought it was going to be. All right, but jumping over to Dallas, who did spectacular, right? They really played awesome. I mean, as far as Dallas goes, they didn't put a lot of points up on the board. In fact, the 13 points they did put up were all the first half, right?
Yep.
So Zeke, he's a plug and play. He was great. Once again, found the end zone. He continues to do it even when they don't score a lot of points. Anyone else on this team looking good to you?
Well, I mean, okay, Cooper only ended up with 5.5 points in standard, but that's because he did lose a fumble. But 8 for 75, that's actually something I feel decent about. Because you're not getting these games, like when you'd see him with Oakland and he'd get a 1 for a 10 or something like that. This is different. So I actually feel okay about that. Yeah, he didn't really help you this week if you're in standard league, but I feel comfortable playing him. I'll say that. I do. I feel completely comfortable playing him next week. Is an 8 for 75. Typically, I mean, that could be an 8 for 75 with a touchdown, no problem. He gets 13.5 points, and just like that, it's a great game. So, I feel pretty decent about Amari Cooper, actually. And Michael Gallup, it was nice to see 5 for 76. He's becoming a little more involved. It probably helps that there's another guy out there to take, so he doesn't have anybody worrying about him. Other than that, though, there's just nothing. Those weren't even great performances. It was just something, might be able to see coming down the line. Zeke's great, but Dak was okay. Every quarterback these days goes like 24 for 28 now. They don't throw incompletions. They just didn't do much fantasy-wise.
Yeah, and I mean, neither. I mean, to be fair, Drew Brees didn't do anything fantasy-wise either. But,
no.
This is the worry with Dak. I mean, obviously, Saints are good. You were hoping that maybe it would be a shootout and he would have to throw a little more. But, yeah, I mean, really, what it came down to is Zeke was the only guy that really stood out today.
And he still only he was only 23 for 76 on the ground because Saints' run defense has been really good against the run. They've been good. And they allow a low yards per carry, but Zeke's just able to make it work. And he's involved in the passing game now.
Yeah, and he's really been a killer that way. I mean, that's where he got his touchdown today, 6 for 60. All 6 targets he caught. I mean, really, I mean, he is really helping, kind of buoying Dak his, any sort of value that he has in fantasy right now. I mean, it does come directly from him. I do think Cooper will help quite a bit, but how is this happening? I don't understand. This game was so bizarre to watch.
Now we just get to hear about Cowboys going. They're like 7-5 now.
I mean, it was a great win. And as far as NFL goes and playoff seeding and all of that, it was huge. And especially this is going to do big things for, their confidence level, especially now that their offense is going to be a little more well-rounded with Cooper. You do wonder if this is going to open things up and they'll be able to put up a few more points up on the board.
Yeah, now they're leading the NFC East now. They're probably a playoff team.
Which is mind-blowing, especially where they started in the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Man, I know that there's so many QBs that are like going nuts, but the way that Zeke has played on this team and just been the consistent, I feel like he should be up for the MVP as well, because there's any other player and this team probably has 3 more losses.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. Why can't this happen to the Lions?
Yeah.
Where they just all of a sudden become good randomly?
Never draft Zeke.
Yeah, they just, whatever. Oh, well. But I think that's all I got for this one. Just not a lot of fantasy thing. I mean, if the Saints played anybody but Tampa next week, I might have to be like, maybe, but they play Tampa. They'll get right. They'll right the ship. They'll be fine. I don't feel any worry playing Breeze, Kamara, or Thomas Ingram's still a different story. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. Yep, I believe so. Yeah, they're still the team that put up 419 points through the first 12 games.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. They're fine.
They'll get back on track.
Yeah, no worries. But all right, that'll do it. We'll talk to you guys next time.